Welcome to the Thursday, February 21st, 2019 meeting of the Longmeadow School Committee. This meeting is being recorded and aired live by LCTV, as well as being live streamed on longmeadow.org. It is a legal requirement for anyone else to disclose if they're recording this meeting. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There is no correspondence. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the February 5th, 2019 school committee meeting as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing as none, call for vote. All in favor? Unanimous. There are no visitors in the gallery, so therefore there are no visitor comments. Any school committee announcements, recognitions, comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. There are no business with guests, no administrative reports. This is an abbreviated meeting, just in case those at home are wondering. Subcommittee reports, none for today. We will go to ongoing business. The main reason we're here today is to discuss the statement of interest for Glenbrook and Williams Middle School. There is a recommended motion.
You have to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll start with I move. Having convened in an open meeting on February 21, 2019, prior to the SOI closing date, the School Committee of Longmeadow, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent and to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated no later than April 12, 2019, for the Williams Middle School located at 410 William Street, Longmeadow, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Replacement or renovation of a building which is structurally unsound or otherwise in a condition seriously jeopardizing the health and safety of school children where no alternative exists. Replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating, and ventilation systems to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility. Replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Longmeadow to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
There is a motion on the Williams Middle School SOI. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
I just have some,
Yep.
as I was going through the report, I informed Dr. O'Shea that there's just a few like little grammatical things that, I've noted in there, so, I can give this copy to you and just let you amend it. My only real substantive question is about the windows, because we have a lot of single pane windows, and in my experience previously going through a windows and heating renovation project in particular, one of the ways in which we were able to secure funding through the state, this was in Connecticut, was by remedying the windows in such a way that, number one, the double pane and insulated because of the efficiency, but also because of the safety factor. A single pane window, if it's broken, is very dangerous because it will shatter all over the place. Whereas if you purchase windows that are, insulated and have a special coating on them, they shatter, they just shatter and they don't actually break and fall apart. The second piece is we actually installed windows that had that were wide enough so that anyone could escape through them. So that was seen as a security and safety measure. So I don't know if that's something that could be added, should be added relative to, you know, one of your threads is obviously the safety and security of the building. So I just might suggest that, you know, if those are areas of concern, or if those are things that you could say, you know, would be something that the school committee or the community would want to have in place, you might want to identify that.
So we could potentially add some verbiage to
Yeah, just simple.
highlight the safety concerns associated with the single pane windows, along with the energy concerns that's already noted, but
Right.
so we could add that in there. So if you wanted to sort of take the vote and we could, as amended or as with the suggestions that Susie's making.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think it's a great suggestion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd support that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So do we have a motion as amended?
I move as amended.
Motion, is there a second?
Second?
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Right now, we're voting on the amendment. Seeing none, all those in favor? Submission as amended. Diane, do I have to, since we voted on the amended, which goes to the main motion, we don't have to vote on the main motion as well, correct?
You have to vote on the resolve.
Okay. Okay, then we go back to the original
Yeah.
discussion. Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. The SOIs for Williams Middle School as amended will be submitted. Just as part of the process, we do have to go to the select board, which is why we are meeting today, to present these to the select board and have a discussion about the SOIs, I'm sure. There is a second motion on Glenbrook Middle School.
Move having convened in an open meeting on February 21, 2019, prior to the SOI closing date, the School Committee of Long Meadow, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated no later than April 12, 2019, for the Glenbrook Middle School located at 110 Cambridge Circle, Long Meadow, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Replacement or renovation of a building which is structurally unsound or otherwise in a condition seriously jeopardizing the health and safety of school children where no alternative exists. Replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating, and ventilation systems to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs in a school facility. Replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval, the awarding of a grant or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town of Long Meadow to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority.
There is a motion being read. I will entertain a second.
Second?
Motion and second. Discussion?
I just have the same amendments, suggestions as for Williams.
Do we have a motion for an amendment as amended?
I move for the amended.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. We'll now move to discussion of the main motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
So I don't know if it'd be just helpful to take a peek at what the next steps could potentially look like. So as the chair mentioned, next step is to go to the select board. We'll need a certified vote from the school committee and the select board. The deadline for submission to the MSBA is April 12th. So meeting today gives us enough of a buffer to come back to you if there are any concerns expressed by the select board. But this is it's a lengthy timeline beyond any local approval of a submission of an SOI. And so This is a rough approximation of what that might look like. So we would be many, many years out from any project to address the facility needs that we've identified in the SOI at both Glenbrook and Williams. It's a long review period by the MSBA, and then a lengthy feasibility study. And you'll see the stoplights that are at 3 stages of this project, and it really is to signal that this is it's sort of a very cautious process, one that involves local approval at 3 stages. Right now, with the submission, the approval of a feasibility study, because these are very, very ambitious feasibility studies costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and so just to conduct that feasibility study requires town meeting approval, and then ultimately you would need town meeting approval to approve any option that is identified, the scope of the project and the budget for the project. So at a number of different stages, the townspeople have an opportunity to weigh in on this process. We're at the very, very early stages, and of course the question we get most frequently is, well, what's the plan? And really, the plan is to let the facts guide us, and you know, an ambitious feasibility study would let us know what our options are, what's the most fiscally responsible approach, and what's the most educationally responsible approach to address the needs that we've identified. Right now, we're just identifying the need, and that's what the statements of interest attempt to do. So we appreciate the school committee's attentiveness to this and their support of the statements of interest. So we'll be in touch with the select board to have an opportunity to sit with them to go to explain the process once again. I think they're familiar with it at this stage, and hopefully they'll be in support. So,
Any questions for Marty? Yeah, thank you. And then I got some questions on this last night at a meeting I was at, and you know, I think it's really, really important for people to understand that I don't think anybody on this board or anybody in this room really has an idea of like what it is in the end it will look like. And this is a process, like you said. It's a long, ongoing, methodical process with different checkpoints along the way. We are all well cognizant of the stressors in town on the tax base, on the fact that we have a new DPW going in. We just had a brand new high school built not too long ago. We have an adult center that's being built and you know, being discussed actively as well in the community. So I can assure the public, at least from my vantage point, that we will do what is the most fiscally prudent, yet fills the needs of a great learning community for Long Meadow. So so I hope you all have faith and confidence that we will spend the public money wisely if it comes to that, and we won't go anywhere until a feasibility study, like you said, Marty, is done, and that will direct a lot of the actions that we would have to make in the future.
if I could just thank the Permanent Building Committee for, once again, touring the buildings with us a couple weeks ago. Mary Beth Morris, Mary Beth Bergeron from the Permanent Building Committee. They were, I think, they're fully aware of the needs of the buildings and provided us with some input into the statements of interest. So we folded the report that they provided us into the statements that you had before you today. So thanks to the Permanent Building Committee.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have a overnight field trip request. Is there a recommended motion?
I move that the school committee approve the overnight field trip request for students from Long Meadow High School to travel to New York, March 21st through the 22nd, 2019.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Dr. O'Shea, do you have anything to add?
It's Columbia's Scholastic Press Association Conference. Mark Cormier is the advisor to the Jet Jotter. He's done a great job revitalizing that paper in recent years. It's now part of it. It's a class at the high school, and they have really expanded the Jet Jotter in really exciting ways. And so it's great for Mark to bring a contingent to that press conference at Columbia. So we're excited to support.
Great. Any further discussion? Seeing none, move to a vote. All those in favor? congratulations to the students and great safe travels. The next thing on the is the meeting schedule. The school committee has a regular meeting scheduled for June 11th, which is Election Day. I think we should reschedule that meeting. And I was thinking that Thursday, the 13th, probably makes sense, give people a day to get sworn in and then come in on Thursday. Any discussion?
I think that's what it was last year. We had
Yes.
2 days, and that was plenty of
Yeah,
time, so
that's great.
I agree with that idea.
Diane, do you need a motion or do you just need
No.
unanimous? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, consent. Okay. All right, so we'll schedule it for the 13th. And then in regards to the meeting schedule, I know we've been also doing Tuesdays. I was going to put on further, we used to have a set schedule of the first and third Monday of the month.
second and fourth.
Second and fourth, which was opposite of the select board, which is the first and third, which
Right.
kind of gave the town some regularity on what to expect in the meetings. So I will put that on a future meeting just to see if that works for everybody or if this current schedule is best. Next one is discussion of legal representation. I asked for this to be on here just based upon the current billings we've had, based upon some of the questions that were asked during the past couple months, responses that have gone from our legal representation, and in fact, I don't think we've looked at costs overall and making sure that they're in line. I think it would be prudent to have Tom look into what are our other options for legal representation at this time. So I'm bringing that here and open it for discussion.
I agree with that. With that idea, I think it would be prudent to see what our options are.
Sure, that's fine with me.
Good.
I don't have much experience with the past, but it's
Nope.
always good to go out and look.
Good. Tom, you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll have, we'll let Tom reach out to, this is not a RFP process. It is exempt from that under MGL. So Tom will look at firms. I think in my estimation, I'd like to see if there's any firms that at least have a local presence to cut down on the expenses that we've paid from Boston or from Eastern Massachusetts. I know that may not be possible. The education law space is a smaller space than other space. I think there may be firms in Hartford that also have an extension into Western Mass. So Tom, I leave it to you to do the investigation or the research and then bring it back. Okay. All right, to the end of new business, there is an executive session planned for this meeting. Is there a motion?
I move that the school committee meet in executive session pursuant to MGL 3821A, Purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation to protect the litigation position of the governmental body, not to reconvene into open session.
This motion requires a roll call vote.
Need a second first.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote. Bronwyn.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
Armin. Aye. We are now in executive session. Thank you very much. We will not be back into public session.